I want to speak today about courage, but not the kind that announces itself loudly or seeks permission to exist. I want to speak about the quiet, steady courage it takes to be fully yourself in a world that is often uncomfortable with truth, honesty, and light. From the moment we are young, many of us learn, sometimes gently, sometimes painfully, that the world has preferences. It prefers us smaller, quieter, easier to explain, less complicated, less powerful. And over time, if we are not careful, we begin to participate in our own shrinking. I know something about silence. I know something about fear. I know something about being told directly and indirectly that my voice was inconvenient. And I learned that silence may feel like safety for a while, but it is a costly shelter. It protects you from immediate harm, perhaps, but it starves you of joy, of truth, and of your own becoming. There is a difference between peace and quiet. Quiet can be imposed. Peace must be chosen. Authentic self-expression is not a luxury reserved for the confident or the celebrated. It is an act of courage, especially when the environment around you benefits from your invisibility. To speak honestly, to stand fully in who you are, to refuse to apologize for your presence, these are not small acts. They require strength of spirit. They require faith in your own worth. And they require a willingness to be misunderstood. The world will often try to convince you that your voice is a privilege, something granted by others and revocable at their discretion. But your voice is not a privilege, it is a responsibility. It is the instrument through which your truth enters the world. When you silence yourself to make others comfortable, the world loses something irreplaceable. There has never been another you. There will never be another you. And the perspective you carry is not accidental. It was entrusted to you. Many people believe that shrinking themselves creates safety. They believe that if they stay quiet, stay agreeable, stay hidden, they will avoid conflict, rejection, or pain. But shrinking does not make you safe. It only makes you unseen, and being unseen is its own form of harm. When you deny yourself expression, you fracture your spirit. You teach yourself that survival matters more than integrity. Over time, that lesson becomes a wound. I have learned that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that your truth matters more than your fear. Every time you speak when your voice trembles, every time you show up without armor, every time you choose honesty over acceptance, you reclaim a piece of yourself that fear tried to take. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. This is dignity. Authenticity is spiritual strength. It is the alignment of your inner life with your outer expression. When who you are inside matches how you live and speak outside, there is a freedom that cannot be manufactured. You stand differently. You breathe differently. You no longer expend energy pretending, editing, or erasing parts of yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed with your fullness in mind. The world may resist your wholeness. It may label you difficult, too much, or inconvenient. Let it. Those labels often appear when someone refuses to be reduced. You are not required to be palatable to be valuable. You are not required to be quiet to be worthy. You are not required to explain yourself endlessly to earn your place. Your presence is justification enough. Freedom begins with self-acceptance, not the shallow kind that ignores growth, but the deep kind that honors your humanity. When you accept yourself fully, you stop negotiating your worth. You stop asking for permission to exist. You stop mistaking tolerance for love. Self-acceptance is the soil from which courage grows. Without it, every word feels risky. With it, your truth becomes steady. I want to be clear. Speaking your truth does not mean shouting. It does not mean cruelty. It does not mean performing strength for an audience. It means honesty. It means refusing to lie about who you are, even subtly. It means choosing integrity over approval. And sometimes it means saying no when the world expects yes, and saying yes when the world insists you should remain silent. There will be consequences. Courage is not without cost. Some people will walk away when you stop shrinking. Some doors will close when you refuse to pretend. But understand this, doors that require your disappearance were never entrances to freedom. What you lose in false belonging you gain in self-respect. And self-respect is a foundation that does not collapse. I have seen how people blossom when they stop apologizing for their existence. I have watched shoulders lift, voices steady, eyes brighten. The act of taking up space honestly, responsibly, and unapologetically is transformative. It sends a message to the world, but more importantly, it sends a message to your own soul. I am here. I matter. I will not disappear. Your voice carries more than words. It carries history, resilience, memory, and hope. When you speak, you are not speaking only for yourself. You are speaking for those who were never allowed to speak, for those still learning how, and for those who will come after you, wondering if courage is possible. Representation is not just visibility, it is permission. Do not wait until you feel fearless. Fearlessness is not the prerequisite for courage. Courage is the response to fear. Speak anyway, stand anyway, be yourself anyway. The world does not change because we wait for perfect conditions. It changes because ordinary people decide to be honest in imperfect ones. I want you to understand that being fully yourself is not selfish. It is generous. When you live authentically, you give others permission to do the same. You loosen the grip of fear in rooms that have grown tight with silence. You expand what is possible simply by refusing to shrink. You were not born to be edited. You were not created to fit neatly into someone else's comfort. You were not designed to live half a life to make others feel whole. You are here to live fully, speak truthfully, and stand firmly in your dignity. And if the world pushes back, let it. The oak does not apologize for its roots. The river does not shrink to avoid the shore. Neither should you. Courage is not loud, but it is persistent. It is the steady decision to remain yourself again and again. So take up space. Speak with clarity. Stand with grace. Let your life be evidence that freedom begins the moment you accept yourself fully and refuse to disappear. And as you continue to take up space, you will discover something quietly powerful. The world begins to adjust. Not all at once, and not without resistance, but it adjusts. When you stop shrinking, you disrupt patterns that depended on your silence. You interrupt expectations that were never fair to begin with. And while this can feel uncomfortable, even frightening, it is also deeply honest. Growth often feels like tension before it feels like freedom. I want you to know that the courage to be fully yourself is not something you summon once and then possess forever. It is a daily practice. Some days you will speak boldly. Other days your courage will be quieter, expressed simply by refusing to lie about who you are. Both matter. Courage does not always look like grand declarations. Sometimes it looks like consistency. Sometimes it looks like staying soft in a hard world. Sometimes it looks like choosing truth over ease when no one is watching. There will be moments when you are tempted to retreat into old habits of shrinking. The world can be persuasive. It rewards conformity. It praises those who fit neatly into familiar shapes. When that temptation comes, remember this: shrinking does not protect you from pain. It only delays your becoming. The cost of hiding is always higher than the cost of honesty, even if that cost is not immediately visible. I have learned that when people criticize your authenticity, they are often reacting to their own unexpressed selves. Your freedom reminds them of the parts they have buried. This is not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for making others comfortable with your wholeness. You are responsible for living with integrity. Let others wrestle with their discomfort while you remain rooted in your truth. Being fully yourself also requires discernment. Courage is not recklessness. It is not saying everything, everywhere, to everyone. It is knowing when to speak and when to wait, when to act and when to observe. Authenticity guided by wisdom is sustainable. It honors both your voice and the moment. You do not owe the world constant explanation, but you do owe yourself honesty. I want to speak to those who have been told they are too much, too loud, too emotional, too intense, too sensitive, too ambitious, too visible. Those words are often weapons disguised as advice. They are designed to reduce you, not refine you. Listen carefully to feedback, but do not internalize diminishment. Growth never requires disappearance. There is a deep spiritual cost to living divided against yourself. When your inner truth and outer life do not align, fatigue sets in, confusion grows, joy diminishes. But when you choose authenticity, even imperfectly, something settles within you. There is a sense of homecoming. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust becomes a foundation no criticism can easily shake. Freedom does not arrive when the world approves of you. It arrives when you approve of yourself enough to live honestly. That approval is not arrogance, it is stewardship. You are responsible for the life you have been given, and that life asks something of you, not perfection but presence, not silence but sincerity. I want you to imagine a world where more people refuse to shrink, a world where voices were not ranked by convenience, but valued for truth, a world where difference was not feared but recognized as strength. That world begins in small personal decisions. It begins each time someone chooses courage over concealment. So when you feel the familiar pull to make yourself smaller, pause. Ask yourself who benefits from your silence. Ask yourself what part of you is asking to be honored, and then choose as gently or as boldly as you can to remain yourself. Again, and again, and again. Because the courage to be fully yourself is not a moment. It is a way of living, and in choosing it you do more than change your own life. You widen the path for others to follow.